I'm going to show you how to get more kills in Warzone, and we're starting right now. What's up guys, it's Average Joel, making average content for the average viewer, and today I want to bring you some Warzone tips for how to consistently get more kills in Warzone. So when playing any Battle Royale, your most basic and obvious goal will always be to win the game. With that being said, there comes a time in any gamer's life when the gameplay loop of lying down dead still like a slug at recon contracts and cheesing your way to the final circle whilst avoiding people like you're social distancing within the game just isn't going to cut the mustard anymore, and you're going to want to know how to get more kills in Warzone. Well, fear not, because that is exactly what we want to talk about. Before I get into it, I should preface this by saying that when looking at your stats on Warzone, it is easy to think that wins are what define a good player. However, this isn't always the case, as it is possible to win many games of Warzone by being extremely passive and having the reaction time of a sleep-deprived sloth after smoking a fatty bowl. So, the real way that you're going to improve at Warzone is going to be to push yourself out of your comfort zone and start pushing for high kill games. So without further ado, let's get on with the Warzone tips. So if you want to start dropping more kills and getting sweatier than a 1970s Elvis on a treadmill, then the very first thing that you're going to want to do is drop somewhere hot. Now I know, this can be a little bit scary for some of you, but trust me, the absolute best way for you to improve your fragging ability in Warzone is by dropping into the thick of it and getting those early game kills. When it comes to choosing your drop location, there are a number of things that you want to take into consideration. The first will be to think about the circle location. For example, if the centre of the circle is over at Quarry, then it might not be the best idea to drop over at Boneyard, as the chances of there being loads of people there are going to be smaller. Plus, if you have a long way to run to the next circle, then you aren't as likely to run into as many people en route, which will make for a very quiet mid-game. Now with that being said, I would suggest that you have two hotspots that you and your squad drop consistently, and I'll explain why. So most of the time, my squad and I either drop at hangars, by airport, or at the Boneyard. Now, it honestly doesn't matter which spots you choose, so long as that they are popular drop zones, but the main emphasis of this point is that you get comfortable with a spot and learn it like the back of your hand. I would say that the average player in Warzone chooses their drop locations based off of two things: how close it is to the flight path, and how many contracts are there. Because of this, the chances that an enemy squad are always going to be completely comfortable in the area is actually quite low. So if you and your squad take the time to learn all of the angles and jump spots of a location, then it will give you a massive advantage when you start seeing those little red dots appear and you start to hunt. Another huge benefit to dropping in one location and learning it is that over time you will be able to learn the rotations and the best ways to traverse the map after the initial madness has ended. Think about when you play multiplayer on a Call of Duty game. When the game first comes out, you have absolutely no map knowledge whatsoever, so you typically don't get that many high kill games. However, once you get used to the map, you start instinctively knowing the popular rush routes, and as a result you are able to preempt where the enemy is going to be. Well, it is the same in Warzone, but on a much bigger scale. Once you have landed somewhere and begin to learn it inside and out, you will be able to work out the most probable locations of the nearest teams. And even if there aren't any teams where you thought there'd be, the likelihood of you getting absolutely Mia Khalifa'd from behind is going to drop significantly. So once you've made it out of your hot drop victorious, you're going to want to start rotating towards the next zone. The mid-game of a Warzone match can typically go one of two ways. First way is that you end up getting into a couple of really drawn out and tiring gunfights, and before you know it, the gas is on you and your whole squad is panicking. And the second way is that you spend 15 minutes walking around not seeing anyone and think that the game has glitched out. This, I think, is indicative of the main issue with any Battle Royale game. And this is the randomness. There are so many variables at play that often it seems like it boils down to luck of the draw. However, in Warzone, we have a few tools at our disposal that can eliminate some of this randomness and ultimately let you control the pace of the game and help you get some really easy kills. There are 3 mechanics that are unique to Warzone as a battle royale, and they can really help you with this pacing and let you hunt down enemies like the vermin that they are. And these are bounties, UAVs and recon drones. Now obviously a lot of people use UAVs very regularly, but I very rarely see them being used to their full potential. I'll hold my hands up to this one as well. A lot of the time when I pop a UAV, I stumble around for too long and I end up wasting it. The best way that you can convert a UAV into some easy kills is by switching to the aggression of a vegan in a steakhouse and fully committing to the nearest team to you. You can use a bounty in a similar fashion, but it is important to remember that when you're hunting someone using a UAV, they will have no idea that you are coming for them. Whereas if you have a bounty active, more times than not, the enemy will have set up a defensive position and they will know exactly when you are going to strike. With that being said, if you don't have a UAV to hand and find yourself in a lull in the action, picking up a nearby bounty can give you just the information that you need to be able to keep on pushing and racking up kills. And finally on this point, I don't see enough people using the recon drone. These little beauties can be invaluable in the mid game and they are fairly common to find. Just chuck one up before heading into any built up area and you will be able to see exactly where you need to push. One thing to remember with the recon drones is that sometimes it's better not to let them spot the enemy and instead ping their general direction. This way you are able to keep the element of surprise as tagging the enemy would warn them, just like the bounty contracts do, and they will be ready for you. Right, so next I'd like to talk about your loadouts. As I'm sure you guys are aware, there is a very strict meta in Warzone at the moment where pretty much every single person that you see will be either running a Growl or an M4 and a HDR. This means that a lot of the gunfights that you engage in are going to follow a similar pattern. You can either engage the enemy at long range and chip away their health over a long period of time, or you can take them by surprise and laser them down at a shorter or medium range. The issue with the first style I mentioned is that this often leads to getting multiple downs and not converting on the kills. Engaging in long distance tit for tat sniper battles can be fun as hell, don't get me wrong, but if you're really going for some super high kill games, then the best thing that you can do is be more aggressive. I'm not saying that you shouldn't run a sniper at all, but what I'm saying is that you have to play more aggressively with the sniper. What I mean by this is that you should be setting your sniper up to have a quick ADS. This way, you'll be able to duck in and out of cover and take quick shots at people without exposing yourself for too long. A lot of people that you'll be coming up against will be using super heavy, cumbersome sniper rifles, so if you can make yours snappy, then you will be giving yourself a massive advantage. Also, don't limit your sniper to the long range fights. If you have an enemy team in your sights, then by far the most effective way to open up the gunfight is going to be by placing a clean headshot down range. This will mean that before the gunfight even starts, you have either downed or seriously injured one of the enemy team. Not only that, but a lot of the time they will assume that the shot came from further away, so they might stop and hide in the cover, giving you the opportunity to push them hard and capitalise. The best way to drop these high kill games is going to be by taking these easy kills and deleting squads swiftly. So the last thing that I want to discuss with you guys is something that you will not be able to implement overnight, and that is practice. Whether you have been playing Call of Duty for years or this is your first COD, the way that Warzone plays is going to be extremely different to what you're used to. Obviously, if you haven't played Call of Duty before, then you're going to have the most to learn, but if you're like myself and have played every single Call of Duty since the original Modern Warfare, the way that Warzone plays is going to require a different skill set and different muscle memory. The biggest reason for this, in my opinion, is the emphasis on maintaining your aim over a long period of time. In regular multiplayer, most of the gunfights that you engage in are going to be over in a matter of milliseconds because the time to kill is so fast. This means that in order to be good at multiplayer, you need to be good at snap aiming and have awesome reflexes. These skills do transfer into Warzone, however, you need to land more than double the amount of shots on an enemy to kill them. So, whereas you probably didn't have to worry so much about recoil patterns before, now they will play a huge part. Luckily for us, we have Plunder, and this is a super valuable resource for practicing the skills that you need to kill people in Warzone, as not only are all of the players at the same health as they are in Warzone, but both you and the enemies keep respawning, which means that you have an endless stream of real targets to practice hitting those shots on. Anyways, that about sums it up for me today. If you found this video at all useful, a like is always appreciated, and if you're brand new to the channel, then it would make my day if you'd subscribe. For those of you who have watched these videos for a while, you'll know that I like to see who sticks around until the end of these videos. So, if you're still here, I'd like you to let me know by answering this down in the comments. What is your highest kill game in Warzone, whether you won or not? Anyway, that's it from me today. I'm Average Joel. Peace.